I've been using this Ricoh GR4 for a few months now, and here's the deal. It's not perfect out of the box, but you probably already knew that. I've spent some time testing and refining the camera, tweaking the settings until I feel like I'm at a point where I can share it with you guys. This will turn your cute little compact camera into a super stealthy street photography weapon. Before we begin though, I've made a PDF containing all the settings I've mentioned in this video, and it's completely free. And I've also got a PDF on how to set up your Fujifilm X100V or X100VI for street photography as well. So please check them out. Link is in the description. Let's dive into the still image settings. We're going to go set our auto ISO limits. I like having the upper limit at 6400 and the lower limit at 100 with a minimum shutter speed of 1/60th of a second. That will compensate for the majority of lighting scenarios just fine. Next up is program line. This setting will instruct the camera on what aperture to favor when set to P mode. P mode on top of the camera here. Most will have it on normal and they'll never have an issue with it, but I like setting it to depth of field deep. The Ricoh GR4 will try to maintain a higher aperture value at the expense of ISO and shutter speed. One thing to note when in P mode, if you manually change either the shutter speed or aperture value, let me just show you right now. So let me just change one of the values. You can see in the corner here, it will go into PEX mode. This will stop the program line function. To reset, simply press the dial unlock, this little nub here, just press that, and then it will go back to P mode. Let's go ahead and turn off electronic shutter. The Ricoh GR's leaf shutter is quiet enough and fast enough for even the brightest of days. And if you couple it with the previous depth of field setting, along with the GR4's built-in ND filter, I don't think you'll need electronic shutter at all. Next up is anti-aliasing. I like to keep it off. Anti-aliasing helps to reduce the effects of moire at the expense of sharpness, but I haven't really noticed any moire yet, even with it set to off, so no problems here. File format, you should know this by now, it should be set to RAW plus JPEG. It's always better to have a RAW file than not to have one in those situations when you couldn't get the exposure right in camera and you need to tweak it slightly in post. It's better to be safe than sorry. For white balance, this comes down to your personal preference. I personally like it set to auto or auto white priority, as it gives me a good base to grade in post or edit in camera. Now we're going to scroll down to the wrench icon and we're going to be turning off a lot of stuff. So the first thing we're going to turn off is the animation settings. This basically is when you're in playback mode, when you swipe with your finger. If you have the animation setting set to on, it's just going to make that swiping animation pop up, and we don't really need that. It's actually better when you have it off, and when you swipe your finger, the next image appears without that weird swipey effect. Next up, we're going to turn the power button lamp off. This basically removes the green light around the power button when you turn it on by default. I like to have it off. Usually you can tell when the camera is powered on or off based on the sound of the lens coming out and retracting back in. So no issues there. Next up, we're going to turn the volume down. By turning the volume down, you're not going to have any noises coming out of the camera at all. No button noises, no menu selection noises, none of that stuff. So, it's pretty self-explanatory. Quiet camera, less noise, the better it is. Now, this is a personal preference, but I like to turn airplane mode on. This basically turns off all of the wireless communication on the camera, and in turn, that way it will be able to save a little bit more battery. I like to turn auto power off to off, and I also like to turn sleep mode off as well, simply because I don't like having my camera going into standby or turning off by itself during a street photography session. Any potential to miss a decisive moment due to hardware should be eliminated. So now that we have all the general settings configured, let's move on to the custom settings. Keep in mind, these settings are what works for me. I encourage users to treat this more as a starting point and then figure out and set up what works best for themselves. Just above the wrench icon is the C icon. We're going to go into the menus, and first we're going to go to adjustment mode settings. I'm going to show my settings on screen right now. You can pause the video if you need, but these are the settings you can access by pressing down on the rear dial. The first one I have is image control. So if you enjoy quickly switching between different looks, then this is a handy function to set. I like to switch between positive film and high contrast black and white. Next up is focus. Jumping between focus modes is pretty handy. I typically have it set to select AF, but being able to quickly switch to other focus modes is helpful in situations where I'm not shooting snap focus, or I want to take a landscape shot during my street sessions. So in that case, I could probably go all the way down to infinity, right? And shoot a landscape and then switch back to my other focus modes. Simple as that. So next up is AE metering. I tend to have it on multi-segment most of the time, but from time to time, I like to switch it to highlight weighted or spot, depending on the situation as well. So pretty neat feature to have readily available. Next up is snap focus distance. While the GR4 has or does have a snap mode, the little snap mode up here, I find it limiting how you can't set the aperture or shutter speed manually in that mode. So this is probably the next best option, so I can cycle really quickly between distances, snap distances on the go. So next up is touch settings. Now touch settings is pretty great. I usually have it default to AF point, which allows me to, if I tap the screen anywhere on the screen, or if I tap, hold, and drag, I can basically position the focus box wherever I want. But other handy modes is tap, focus, and shoot. So yeah, basically you can tap a point, it will focus, and it will shoot all in one go. But more importantly, I love to use the full press snap. So for example, if I had my snap focus set to 2 meters, instead of full pressing the shutter button as you usually do, all you have to do is touch the screen and it will do the exact same function as if you were to full press the shutter button. And that's a great thing because it allows you to be a little bit more discreet. Plus, it also saves you from mashing your shutter button all the time when doing snap shooting. So now we move on to the FN button settings. And there's only a few here that I have changed. There's most of the function buttons on the camera I find useful by default. So the first one that I changed is the FN button. So I have this set to auto exposure lock. So how this works is, let's say I'm in spot metering exposure mode. I point the focus box at a bright light source and the camera automatically adjusts to expose that light source. But now I want to recompose and set the focus box on another part of the scene, but I want to retain the exposure I got from the sampled light source. So I can now simply press and hold the FN button after exposing the light source, point the focus box on something else, and then I'll be able to press the shutter button down halfway to focus without changing the exposure. It works kind of like highlight weighted metering, except you have way more control. Next up is the movie button. Now the movie button has two functions, one for short press and one for long press. Since I don't really use movie mode or shoot video on the Ricoh GR4, here's how I have it set up. So with the short press, it will activate burst mode because you never know when burst mode might come in handy. And long press, I have it set to ND filter. Again, you just never know when you might need that. Now the final two settings that will change is down here in shooting info display. So take a look at what I've got set up right now. As you can see, there's 4 columns. I have this first column ticked with LCD display and electronic level. And then I've left these 2 columns empty. And then for the last one basically means turn the screen off. Effectively, what I've done is I can now switch between these 2 screen settings by pressing the DISP or display button down in the corner here. So right now, I've got the first display mode shown, so you can see all the information around the edge of the screen. And then what happens when I press the display, you'll see the entire display turns off. So you get where I'm going with this, right? So if you can't see what's on the back of your screen no one else can see what's on the back of the screen. So last but not least, and really obvious one, make sure you turn instant review off. So all these settings, make sure you turn these off, because there is no need to see the photo you took pop up on screen right after you take it. It's not necessary. So it has been a while since I've done a tutorial video like this, and I've got to admit, it's actually quite refreshing to come back to this once in a while, every so often, what have you. If you enjoyed this kind of content, do let me know down in the description below. If you have any ideas for future content that you'd like to see from me, definitely let me know in the comment section as well. Link in the description for the free PDF guides to the Ricoh GR4 and the Fujifilm X100V, X106 street photography setup guide. So make sure to click on that and check them out if you want. Download them, they're completely free. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.